takeover of the state capitol, the violence during COVID. I mean, the lockdown that she was, retaliated against for. I mean, she really had an uphill race in many ways here.
By the way, Jeff, speaking of conceding, Tim Michaels did concede. Okay, and he's somebody that was supposedly on the Trump end of the spectrum, questioned some of the Wisconsin results in 2020. So, that if you're looking for signs that maybe that process is healing a little bit, that's a small sign.
And that fits with your point on what we saw from the exit polls, where 3/4 of Republicans said that they do believe that President Biden is the legitimate winner of 2020. And now, according to those secretaries of state you were talking to, there was one election denier that had won. That was Alabama. Well, now a second one in Indiana. Secretary of State has won. So
But not in Nevada,
lost.
So it's just taking us into uncharted territory. I want to go to Shaquille Brewster right now. He's following the Wisconsin governor's race. He's in Milwaukee at the headquarters for Republican candidate Tim Michaels. Shaq, good evening.
Good evening, Lester. And you can see behind me the lights on the stage have come down. People are starting to file out. Tim Michaels, the Republican gubernatorial candidate who is taking on to Governor Tony Evers, the Democrat here in Wisconsin, he conceded his race. He said that he called Governor Evers and he used the line that we heard from him on the campaign trail before as he painted himself as a businessman. He said the numbers didn't add up and it wasn't our night tonight. And look, this was almost the race that was almost understated in the state of Wisconsin, but it was a race that had huge national implications. This was one of the most expensive gubernatorial races in the country. It was Wisconsin's most expensive race in state history, and it was because of those national implications. Things like voting laws. That was a key central issue in this campaign. Tim Michaels saying that that was going to be one of his top priorities. Governor Tony Evers using the democracy line, saying that he was going to be a defender of democracy. You also talk about abortion. This is a state that, since the overturning of Roe, abortions are all but banned. They're criminalized based on an 1849 abortion ban. Governor Tony Evers making that central to his campaign. Tim Michaels moderating his position as the campaign went along. And one thing that we're seeing in exit poll data is something that my team has been noticing here on the ground as we've been talking to voters throughout the day. When you talk to Democratic voters in particular, and we talk about the turnout, you look at places like Dane County, Milwaukee County, where you've seen Democratic voters come out and turn out in those key areas, many of them pointing to the issue of abortion. And in that exit poll data, we saw 37% of voters in this state say that the overturning of Roe made them angry. That was a word I heard so much, and so many times from so many voters across the state. It clearly had an impact as you listen to what Democrats and the Democratic candidates were saying on the campaign trail. Of course, that's the governor's race. We're still waiting for the results and the final projection. In the Senate race, there you see Ron Johnson ahead as the counts are coming in, but still more vote to count as we wait later into the night.
All right, Shaq, thanks.
To Shaq's point here, Governor Evers and allies spent a ton of money hammering Tim Michaels on the abortion access issue. I mean, that was another thing where you saw just a lot of attention, a lot of focus there.
But it was this was a reminder that there was a ban on the books, so it was sort of like both Wisconsin and Michigan. It hit home for those voters differently than it hit in some other states, and we had a feeling that would be the case. I think we're finding out that in places where there actually is a state legislature that might get rid of abortion, that it really helped Democratic governor.
But keep in mind what might happen in the Wisconsin state legislature, and I don't think we know yet. They could end up with a veto-proof supermajority, which means they could pass bills. I'm talking on the state level here. They could pass bills to restrict abortion access in that state, and the Democratic governor can do nothing about
it. The
it.
Assembly Speaker Robin Vos promised me a post-election debrief where he would really have something to say about all of the. Remember, he had to deal with Trump and all of that. So, Robin Vos, Speaker Vos, if you're listening, we've got a lot of questions for you about what's going on in Wisconsin.
We want to take you back to Arizona, providing some more of the drama tonight. Aaron McLaughlin at Senator Mark Kelly's headquarters in Tucson, Arizona. Any word from the campaign there? Will we see the senator?